Hello and welcome to a brief tutorial on MATLAB plotting. So to begin, we'll start with a simple example. Here we declare an x vector that is just 1 to 10 and also a y vector that is 1 to 10. So x being our x values, y being our y values. And in MATLAB we can create a new figure window by typing figure and then the plot command, which is just plot, and then inside parentheses the x vector values, comma, the y vector values. So let's see how this works in MATLAB. So in my script file I have the two vectors created, so let's run this script. And we can see the plot comes up as just a linear line, y equals x. So most importantly to note is that you have to have your x vector and your y vector be the same length. Let's see what happens if we don't have the same length. So I'll make y 1 to 9 instead of 1 to 10. So we'll run this, and MATLAB produces an error. So we'll go look at the error statement. MATLAB says the vectors must be the same length. So MATLAB will give you this error if you're plotting two vectors that are not the same length. So it changes back and run our plot again. So here's our plot. To edit plot items, we must use this select tool here at the top of the plot. So select this. Then we can start selecting different components of the graph. So the first quick and dirty way to edit plots, you can select the line, right click, and select different properties. So we can change the line style to a dash, or we can put markers on it quickly. But probably the best way to do it is to double click somewhere. So if you have this select tool selected and you double click, MATLAB will open its property editor. Close this old plot. And once you select on different elements inside the figure, MATLAB will give you different options to edit. So right now it's got the axes options up. So I can change the x-axis. I can put a label in, my x values. I can change the limits on the x-axis. So right now it's 1 to 10. I can change it. Maybe we just want to look from 5 to 10. You can also do the same with the y-axis, and 3D if you want. You can do the z-axis. You can change the font size with the font tab here. Font size for the axes maybe is 12 is better. So if you want to select the line, then you can change the line properties. We can change this line back to a constant line. Change the line thickness to 3. Put different markers in it. Upside down triangle, etc. So also you can insert different labels using the insert menu at the top. So insert, there's X label, Y label, title, legend, color bar, and you can also insert different lines and arrows if you want to further edit your plots. So that's one way to edit plots in MATLAB. The second way is to use to program in the commands to edit plots. And here's some common examples here. So note that these options go after the plot command. So this option here will change the x limits. This will change the y limits. X label, change the font size of the X label. So we can just copy and paste this to our MATLAB code. So I'll place this here. So the way that this X limit it reads is set the X limits from -50 to 50. And actually in ours we should probably change that to say 5 to 10. And our Y values, we can change it maybe 5 to 10 as well. So if we run this, we can see that a title was inserted, Y label, X label, and then our limits are constrained. The limit should be defaulting to 1 to 10 since our X and Y vectors have those values, but we constrain the x limit and y limit from 5 to 10, and we can see that here. So next, let's go over how to plot multiple graphs in one figure in MATLAB. So there's a couple of options. The first option is if you want to plot multiple lines on one graph. You must use this hold on command. So you'd do your first plot command, you'd say hold on, and then your second plot command that you want to plot. This hold on prevents MATLAB from overwriting the first plot. So let's try this. So maybe we can delete all of these options for now. And then we must create another vector for MATLAB to plot. So let's do 1 to 10 for x, we'll call it x2, and y2 we'll do negative x2 plus 10. So hopefully this makes a nice x for us. So we must do hold on when we want to plot the second one on the same window. Plot x2, y2, and actually let's make it red. So I'll run this. And we can see that MATLAB plots two lines, this being the second line, x2, y2, and x and y on the same figure. You must use this hold on, or MATLAB would overwrite the first line and only display the second line. So that's how you plot multiple lines on one graph. So another option is to use subplot, which will lay out multiple axes in one figure, and it'll be similar to a 2D matrix. So the plot command is subplot m and p, where m is the number of rows of plots, n is the number of columns of your plots, and p is the counter of plots up to m times n. So if you had a 2 by 2, m was 2 and n was 2, then p would go from 1 to 4. And this example shows that. So let's copy and paste this to our MATLAB. So here we're using x3, y3, so we need to make our x3, y3. And maybe it doesn't matter what we plot, so we'll just make the same lines as before. y4 equals x4, y3 equals x3. So let's plot this, and we'll see that MATLAB comes up with a 2 by 2 kind of matrix of plots. And then we can see the counter goes from 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the counters. It goes by rows first. This is counter 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we throw a break statement in here after the second one, the break statement will stop the code and won't execute the rest, and we run this, we can see that we only have the first two plots of the 2 by 2 plotting matrix. So after the third one, we'll throw a break, and we'll see. So this is number 3 of the 2 by 2 plots. So the counter goes from 1 by rows 1, 2, 3, and 4.